everyone, and welcome to Night Court Narrative, podcast where we talk about all things bookish. Today we are talking about A Court of Thorns and Roses, specifically the very first book. If you are new here, I am Elvish.
And I'm Aqua.
And we are going to get into everything possibly controversial, possibly not, and yeah, let's just go.
Yes, definitely. Controversial things. There is a lot that I could definitely talk about. But I guess we'll take this serious. Obviously, we're going to be talking about ACOTAR. We're only going to talk about the first book. Despite so many theories that I have.
Bro, so many.
It's insane. Although you're a lot more organized than I am. I've seen what you've done to the book.
My notes
all
are
the
insane.
labels.
Like they are insane. I am a little bit OCD with my notes, so they are
Very
everywhere. Literally. I have so many tabs in my book, it's not even funny. But yeah, let's go
I'm
ahead.
over here with two sticky notes on sticky noted to each other. I'm holding them right now. I got one from one I definitely got to talk to you about, which I think is the very first time. I always call him Raisin.
Not Raisin.
I know, it's Raisin, right?
Raisin.
Raisin. Okay, that's the first controversial topic, is what his name should probably be. I like Raisin. I don't know.
Listen.
Listen.
It's fine. You know what?
We
We're
have to
already
say it
canceled.
correctly.
The episode hasn't even started yet, and we're already canceled because of you.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
I feel great, actually. I could use some more coffee, to be honest.
Oh my god. Okay, well let's get started before we get canceled again,
let's
shall
get
we?
started, yeah.
Okay, so to start off with, did you want to start or do you want me to start?
It's up to you, really. I mean, mine's okay. This is a really short thing, and it's only because when I was re-listening to the book, so you remember how in the very beginning, after like Feyre goes back into town with the pelts.
Are we talking about like the merchant?
Yes, on the way to the merchant.
Oh, I have something about the merchant. Yes.
Okay, before you get there, because maybe it might lead up to it. It might be the same thing. But you remember the Children of the Blessed?
Yes.
So at one point, this is actually what I wrote down from when I was listening. I was listening to the audio version on somewhere else, and it said in there the girl shrinked back. The little girl, you know, the Children of the Blessed, the one that was like really up in their faces.
Yeah, the one that Nesta almost like.
Pretty much. Yeah, exactly. I think punch is a light.
It's
That's
Nesta.
what she really wanted to do. That's
it's
the
Nesta.
cold-blooded.
I mean, let's be honest.
That's the cold-blooded. I know. I have a problem with girls like Nesta. For some reason, I just want that toxic relationship. But that's a whole different topic. Anyways, going back to what I think. So at this point, you know, Nesta was being all, sexy. The girl shrinked back. A shadow flickered in her brown eyes. Now, the thing is that at some point, now do keep in mind in this podcast, for those who haven't read the book, there's a good chance there could be some spoilers.
No, absolutely.
So just giving you the warning now.
There's going to be so many spoilers here. So,
yes. But we're trying to keep it to what the book we're talking about. We're talking about the very first one.
So,
the very first book.
Correct.
Only.
So we are only going to talk about the first book, and if it does derail into another book, we're going to stop it there, and we're going to have an episode per book. So if you want to see the other books, go ahead, check out the playlist, and we'll go from there. But yes, the Children of the Blessed.
Yes. So, okay, we do know that even in the first book, it does mention a certain somebody,
Daddy.
Ray. Yeah, Daddy Ray. It's all about the shadows because he's of the Night Court.
Right.
Now, we also pretty aware that he has some sort of fixation on a certain somebody. Do you think that it's possible that he may already been eyeing, a certain little lady this early on?
Feyre?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he did, though.
That's what I'm saying, but I'm saying like the first sign of evidence was right there.
Probably.
The Children of the Blessed.
Because if you remember at the very end of the book, she ended up seeing like Amarantha and the court.
Yeah.
Not the court. I don't want to say the court, but she ended up seeing Amarantha and Under the Mountain. She ended up mentioning through someone else's eyes.
Exactly. And so I think that might be literal with the Children of the Blessed.
Maybe she had crossed over into Prythian and maybe somehow Rhysand got his hands on her, maybe?
Possibly that, or he was just looking around and just happened to be there.
Oh, well, okay. So I do want to circle back because I did have a mention of that. However, oh man, and I wish.
But here's another thing though. With this theory, it kind of messes in with another book, with the next book, because well, we do know that he kind of like has been like having that feeling.
Right.
So what I'm thinking is that he both intentionally and unintentionally found Feyre so early.
Yes.
Because it's always through a feeling of his, especially with his magic. His magic is very, I want to say, is very tied to his emotions.
Oh, no,
which is kind of clear
absolutely.
because every High Lord's magic is, is more potent through the emotions.
No, for sure.
When Ray gets mad, his shadows explode. When Tam gets all upsetty in his spaghetti, he get those little claw things
Well,
out.
okay, but then let's not forget, okay, at the very beginning of the book, it might be, I want to say, maybe a few chapters after what you're mentioning. This is already after Tamlin. This is already after she enters the Spring Court. She has a nightmare, but, and I quote, "A shadow lurked. No, watched. I don't dare turn to look at it to see what might be within that shadow observing, not as a wolf stared at me across the clearing."
That's right.
And I kind of bounce off of what you said. We always know, so we can't really talk about it yet, and of course we'll get there, but everyone knows chapter 54 of Mist and Fury. Everyone knows that Rhysand goes and pours his heart out, and we learn absolutely everything, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So with that knowledge in mind, we already know that Rhysand has been with Feyre years before.
A long time.
Yeah. So
that's what I'm saying. This is the very first sighting in the book.
yes.
That basically Ray has been looking at, has been watching Feyre.
So I'm circling back because I know this is a long shot. This is not necessarily a theory, but, and this is a complete long shot, but part of me, I have no idea why, and I can't really explain why, but part of me thinks the merchant is somehow tied to Amren.
So you mean like the mercenary?
Mercenary, thank you. The mercenary.
Yeah.
So,
well, technically could be considered a merchant.
I mean, technically she is, but no,
but she's a mercenary.
Correct. And I feel like she is tied to Amren because yes, if you go throughout the book, yes, Alice says girl, and yes, I think maybe once either Tamlin or Lucian said it, but other than that, the mercenary is the only other character that has only ever called Feyre girl. Now, okay.
So just going based off what she said.
And then if you think about it too, I wish I had it in front of me, but the way that Feyre describes her, she kind of reminds me, like she has a lot of Amren's characteristics. No, I'm not saying, obviously Amren is however old she is, and the mercenary, I think she said was like late 20s, early 30s-ish. So
somewhere around there.
I understand that there's probably no connection there whatsoever, but it is really weird to have someone that early on in the book resemble someone who's been around for like centuries, So I don't know. I know that has nothing to do with it, but I wonder if anyone else watching this has had that theory.
Actually, I think I might have a small part that may enforce that, because this actually goes to another little, I will say, controversial subject. I'm gonna start with the first controversial subject. That's with Nesta. That's with Nesta.
Okay, we're going there?
So, yeah, we're going there.
All right, I want to...
All right, look, okay, we're to get this out there. Nesta did some bad choices. She didn't exactly do things the way what people should really do. Too much spite. I agree with it. Now,
I have so much to add to
Nesta, I know you do. I know your feelings about Nesta. I think Nesta, definitely not as bad as Tam.
Ooh.
Definitely not as bad as Tam.
Ooh, okay. We got to talk about this then.
Hold on. Let me cook. I'm cooking, I promise.
Let him cook.
Let me cook. Now, Nesta, she has some severe mental issues. We can all agree in that. The more you read the books, especially during my favorite book, which is also for some dumb reason is not very high up
yeah.
there, and it's
Very
the third book,
controversial.
Winter.
Very,
Yeah.
very controversial.
Very controversial.
We will get
I don't
there.
care what anyone says. If you need to read the book for the content they have, you know, there's more than to just, you know, the main plot of the story. Some of the side stuff could be very important character
I
development.
agree.
But, and especially when it comes to Nesta, I think with that you get a more understanding of her character and kind of like why she is how she is. To me, it makes sense at least. But of course, once we get there, we'll talk about it.
Okay,
more
so
on that
I want to
part.
actually branch off of that, and
Mhm,
I wouldn't say it's a theory, but it's more of a question, because
mhm.
I see, and now this is with TikTok mainly as a whole,
Yeah.
the ACOTAR fandom as a whole has come out and claimed that Nessa deserves a redemption, because although she did
I agree with
but
that.
hold on, because although she's done a lot of really, really horrible things I mean,
Yeah.
Feyre, in this book
Especially.
specifically, Feyre, later on, again, we'll talk about that later, Cassian, Rhysand, Elaine,
Mhm.
um,
And Amryn.
Amryn, I mean,
Don't
everyone.
forget. Yeah, we're okay with Amryn. Well,
I
basically
mean,
everybody.
everyone, but that's the
Yeah.
thing. They, and again,
Not much with Morgan though. Not much with Morgan.
we're
'cause
getting
it's
there though.
barely
We're
interact.
gonna, I have a theory.
Yeah.
We're gonna get there. So, but the main thing with that though is everyone has claimed as a whole, like it was a whole unanimous vote that Nessa deserves a redemption arc, but Tamlin does not. But now, I know your thoughts about that, and I'm not the biggest Tamlin fan either. You already know how I feel about that. In our book
Yeah.
club,
I mean,
you know that I hate him.
I'll be honest. I'm not the biggest one either. I think at some point he would way too off his rocker, and I think that's what really did him in.
But
Is because of
let's stick true to what we're doing, and let's only
Yeah, no,
talk
fair.
about the first book. So
Right,
let's only
yeah.
talk about the first book here. Let's
Yeah.
go not only so we start, oh, believe me, I have to pull my notes out for this.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
So Feyre mentions early on that she and Nessa have always been at each other's throats, which shows their dysfunctional dynamic, correct? So
yeah.
she spends early chapters throwing insults at Feyre, calling her things such as like ignorant peasant.
Yeah.
Including being openly disrespectful to their father.
Which is a whole different subject. on its
Exactly.
own,
But if
honestly.
you remember at the beginning when her father was openly proud and said thank you for Feyre bringing home the dough, Nessa scoffs, to which, and I quote, any bit of praise for anyone usually resulted in her dismissal. Okay, I understand that, but then at the same time, there's another quote at the beginning where it says me, not her, talking about Nesta. Not the
Yeah.
others. I'd never once seen their hands sticky with blood and fur. And even a quote such as, I'd long since given up hope of them actually noticing whether I came back from the woods every evening, at least until they got hungry again. And I bring...
That's also bad on Elaine too.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
And I have a quote for that too, but I'm gonna wait until later on in like the series for this. But if you start off with the beginning, Nessa is a fucking horrible person.
Yeah, no,
like
I agree.
absolutely horrible. But now if we go through the entire series, Tamlin took Feyre away. Horrible.
Yeah.
But was it really though? I mean, like truly, like fully
Well,
think about
yeah,
it though. Was it
okay.
really? Because he took her from not only like years of neglect and quite literal abuse from
Yeah.
everyone in her family, took her to salvation, gave her food beyond belief, gave her paints, gave her fresh air, gave her everything that she quite literally never got.
But to add on that too, because that's what he did. But not only that, he took care of her family,
Exactly.
which was also because for those who you probably already know, for those listening, that Feyre's mom's gone.
Yeah.
She's out of the picture, and the father is
Kind of,
an act.
unfortunately,
It's
a
just
deadbeat at the
wasting.
beginning.
yeah. I mean, I get the trauma, but come on.
I mean, I know it changes throughout the series, but I mean, if we're
Yeah.
being quite honest, the very beginning, their father's a deadbeat. I mean, I understand, like you said, the trauma, but it gets to
Yeah.
a point where even at the very beginning, and I'm talking about the very beginning, as soon as Tamlin gets there, he is behind Feyre, holding his arms out with Nesta and Elaine behind him as Feyre is in front of him between the beast and them. He never once steps forward to be in front of Feyre. Never once.
At least not in the beginning. Only like towards the end, but that was just for him to say go.
I mean, that's literally
because Tamlin is the one who said. Because Tamlin said. Because basically it's Tamlin. Tamlin said to come to life for a life because she killed the wolf. The wolf turned to be on Andre, which was a fairy of Tamlin.
Correct.
And so life for a life, and that goes to the whole thing about Tamlin. Takes care of the family, stuff like that. That's the only time where her father is kind of a little more active in Feyre's life in the very beginning.
But I mean, it shouldn't. I mean, okay, we're gonna circle back to that. We're gonna put a pin in that, yeah. So now think about it. It's like I mentioned. He gave Feyre quite literal salvation, and throughout it, he was dismissive at the beginning, but it was her own doing. He did everything he could to make her feel at home.
He was trying.
Exactly.
He was trying.
He did everything he could to be a part of her life, even if it was just captor versus whatever. He did everything he could, and she pushed him away at every chance she could fucking get.
And at the same time, even during that, she was aware of it too, because she even mentioned well, it's understandable because I did kill his friend.
Exactly.
She even said it to herself.
To which she did apologize multiple times.
Yeah.
But
she did apologize. Yeah. I feel like as time went on, I got more and more sincere in the apology.
Yes.
More that she's come to realize, okay, he's not just some fairy, because she was also getting to learn about the fairies too.
Exactly.
One, fairies can lie.
Yeah. Well, and then that's the thing too. So with this specific thing we're talking about, we go through, he specifically did not want her to go to Calumet. Specifically. And you do think at the beginning, that's kind of horrible that he's keeping her away. He was keeping her away for her safety. And then moving forward, anything and everything that this man did for her, all the way up until Under the Mountain, we're going to ignore that really quickly, all the way up until Under the Mountain,
was all for
Tell
her.
me, be honest. I mean, if you're against it, be honest.
Yeah.
Everything from the beginning of the book all the way until Under the Mountain, what did Tamlin do to deserve all the hate? For this book specifically. We're not talking about the other books yet.
We're not talking about the rest of it, just the very beginning, right before the mountain.
Just with this book alone, right? Just A Court of Thorns and Roses, why does Nesta deserve a redemption but not Tamlin? Truly.
Okay, this goes back to what I was about to say about the let me cook part. Now, remember, Tamlin did the whole, what do they call it? The illusion, the glamour.
Oh, yes.
The glamour, yes. Use the glamour about how Feyre has gone off to some dying aunt. And,
yes.
And then all this good fortune happened to her family because that's all Tamlin's doing. I think it was literally a day or two after. I'm talking about not even days. Within days, not even week, a
Nesta.
week, within days. No, I'm building up to it. Tamlin was giving them resources.
No, exactly.
Money, fortune, all of that. This goes both with your topic and with mine about Nesta. And about the redemption part. I still think Nesta deserves redemption. But I'll get there. Tamlin gave all the goods, money, food, basically wealth, unimaginable wealth.
Right.
They even said it when Feyre does go back to the family when she gets sent away because of Tamlin, also to save her, damning his people. And for her, she even saw that she had so much money to where just one little bit of that of those funds was 10 estates over for just one little bit.
I think it was like an emerald or something?
No, a ruby, an uncut pure ruby.
She had enough for literally
10 estates.
Exactly.
It's insane. They're well off for
life
and
literal.
Their kids even more though. But if you remember, and this also kind of goes on the dad and a little bit on Elaine, although I wouldn't say as much because she's Elaine, kind of young, very naive.
Well, Elaine is the oldest, right? No, she's the second oldest.
Which is funny because Elaine is always depicted as the youngest. I always forget that Feyre is the youngest.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Personality-wise, Elaine is the youngest. But if we talk about actual age,
in actual chronological age,
I think it goes Nesta, Elaine, Feyre. Yeah.
Yeah, Nesta's the oldest. Yeah. Nesta. Oh wait, no. Yeah,
I think,
Nesta, Elaine,
yeah.
Feyre. Yeah. So Nesta is depicted as almost as like the middle sister.
Mm-hmm.
Elaine is the baby, basically.
I think it's just because with how soft
And
she is, though. I think that's
yeah,
literally
I think
the
that's
only
what it
reason
is.
why.
That and her personality is very, very naive.
She's very
like.
timid, very
Yeah, innocent.
yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll
but
continue
as
with
I
what you
was
were saying, though. Yeah.
Yes, but like it goes a little bit on Elaine. When we're gonna the glamour did not work on Nesta. Nesta figured it out.
No, almost
Which
immediately.
also brings yet another theory about the girls. This is about the girls, but I'll get to that in a second. Put a pin on that because I think this is gonna be crazy.
Okay.
Possible theory, a long stretch, but at the same time it makes sense.
Gotcha.
And it kind of ties into a lot of things. It ties not only to this book, but every book forward.
Okay.
So it ties to all of
I'm
them.
intrigued.
But to go with the Nesta part, she was the only one. For one, the glamour didn't work. She figured it out.
Mhm.
And and this might tie in with your mercenary, because Elaine had told Feyre when she was sent back that Nesta went looking for her.
Yes.
No one else went.
Well, no one else knew.
Elaine. Well, yeah, but think of it this way: if her father knew, do you think he would have done something?
I don't think so.
Because
think
because
so.
he didn't do anything except be sobbing for
I think
for
he's
his
too
wife
scared.
when she was sick. Yeah, but Nesta went to go look for her, and the thing is, the glamour didn't work. So if you put the two together, and which Feyre did, that means that and she says she used that mercenary from the town to
Yeah,
get there.
she did.
So, and everything had happened to where their wagon broke down, that something happened to where they had to turn back, which could be the mercenary might have something to do with it too.
Right.
It might tie in that the mercenary may have something to do with Raysan's entourage. But she went. And and how the relationship was toxic. She just disposed nothing but profanities and negativity towards Feyre.
Even Elaine, but
And Elaine.
yeah.
But she went for her towards Prythian.
This is, and for anyone listening, in the off chance you may have missed that, where I don't know the exact chapter, but it's between chapter 30 and chapter 32, so it's around there.
Somewhere around there.
Around there, Nessa basically spills her heart out to Feyre and basically doesn't apologize, but basically comes out and says, you know what, I've been a very shitty sister and I understand that. I'm acknowledging that. I'm not going to tell you that, but I'm letting you know that I acknowledge it. So she does it in the Nesta way. But this brings me back to my question though. I understand that Nessa goes back to try and find her. Now again, ignore every other book.
Yeah.
Why in this specific book at this specific time, why does Nesta deserve it but not Tamlin?
Well, it does hurt the fact that I have the extra knowledge when it comes to Tamlin, but I think it's because people are too focused on that part of Tamlin.
I agree.
Like in the very beginning, Tamlin was
Perfect.
Yeah, he did everything he could to do right. Not only was he hurting over the fact over his lost friend, and even for Tamlin, even just killing something that wasn't, or killing a fae that wasn't even part of his court, it hurt him.
But then that's what kind of brings me to, I do remember that you had a theory you wanted to talk about the girls, and I'm so down to hear that. But if I may, that also is what really irritates me about the ACOTAR fandom. And I know saying that is a bold claim, and I'm not talking about everyone.
Very bold.
It is very bold. The thing is, though, there are new members of the ACOTAR family, and we love them.
We do need them to keep the books alive. You know.
However, there are videos on TikTok of
I remember you saying this to me. I know which one you're talking about.
Yes. So it's kind of the same as those. Yes. There are videos on TikTok where newer members of the ACOTAR family come out and mention I love Tamlin. And when I tell you, the comment section is so disgusting.
Brutal. Yeah, so disgusting and brutal.
And it turns into, like, don't get me wrong, and Calumet, when Rhysand shows up the first time, I'm like, you know what? I might like this character. But then when he comes back, when they're all having dinner, if you remember when Lucian had Feyre against the window, kind of concealing her presence, if you remember that, he was a nasty beast. And like, don't get me wrong, I am all for Daddy Rhysand. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, but yeah, Daddy Ray Ray.
We're talking about the first book. He was disgusting. Now, Under the Mountain.
Oh, yeah, he was definitely main villain.
Exactly,
energy.
But Under the Mountain, he redeemed himself. Exactly.
Yeah.
But going back to what I'm talking about on the video, the comments are brutally disgusting, and I don't know, it hurts my heart only because you have these characters, you have these new members of the ACOTAR family that are literally going through the same journey we all went through. Everyone went through this same journey. Everyone loved Tamlin. Now, there are some people who didn't vibe with Tamlin. By all means,
which is fair. Everyone's entitled.
Exactly. But the thing is, what happened at the beginning when ACOTAR was a standalone?
Yeah.
I mean, like, think about it. When Mist and Fury wasn't out yet, what happened?
Really changes the perspective. Yeah, that changes the perspective. Because if you think about it, if you're just going based off the first book only,
exactly,
you know, it's terrible.
But then, how? And I don't know how to say this, because either way, I'm gonna just be real with everyone listening here. I don't mean this in a bad way, but like, I don't care about your feelings, because I want to openly tell you what I think, and everyone's allowed to have an opinion, right?
Oh, well, of course, yeah.
But, and I don't mean that the way it sounds, I just don't have another way of saying it. However, when someone is brand new to the fandom and they are openly saying, man, I really love Tamlin, as someone who shares this love, passion, interest,
especially for like a series.
Exactly.
You know? I mean, it doesn't go with just books, it goes to anything.
Exactly.
You know, video game series,
no,
you know,
absolutely.
Anime, TV shows, movies, whatever.
I think, personally, in my personal opinion, I think you should let go of your personal feelings and be like, you know what? I think you're right. I think you're right. Even if you now hate Tamlin for everything he did in Mist and Fury, by all means. But the thing is, this person we're talking to at this particular moment has never heard of Mist and Fury. Never read it, has never listened to it. They have no idea what's going on. So in their mind,
they don't know yet.
In their mind, they have what this picture of A Court of Thorns and Roses is. They have this as their main thing, and you're over
Or their only thing so far, because they're
Exactly.
they probably just finished the book.
Exactly.
Right? And then they're about to start the next one, and you know,
They have you ruining
if they're
it.
making a reaction for one particular thing, like we're doing this over the first book only.
Correct.
You know, I have so many theories.
Oh, so
especially
many.
further on, I get a lot more. The first one is just a building block of everything, getting everything started, get the ball rolling. You know, obviously they're gonna talk about the first book and the way how things is. Tamlin was a good
He
guy,
really was, and that's what I'm
and
saying.
he had genuine good things. I mean, in the future, things change.
And
We all know
truly, I
this.
don't personally, I mean, again, I'm talking about all the way up until Under the Mountain, because that's a whole different story by itself. But I
Yeah, that's
truly
true.
think that Tamlin, I don't think he deserved anything that Amarantha did to him or his court.
No.
Truly. And
Yeah.
I know that people listening to this, they're going to,
Oh, they're gonna hate us.
absolutely.
Yeah,
But
most
like,
times. I can't
if
wait.
you put, and I'm sorry to sound disrespectful here, but I'm going to just put it out. You need to put your ego aside. Truly, put your ego aside, because I understand you like the Bat Daddy and the Bat Boys, and
And don't get me wrong, I'm
love them
all
too.
down for Daddy Ray Ray.
And don't get me
you know,
wrong.
Cassian, especially Azriel.
no,
Oh,
absolutely. And don't get me wrong,
gosh.
I'm not a Tamlin fan.
I know you're not.
No,
Tamlin.
exactly. Like, believe me,
You see,
when the time
I'm more
comes,
willing to
I will
give
shit all over
Tamlin his
Tamlin.
little redemption. Like,
Exactly.
even I'm down for Tamlin have a little redemption. I mean, yeah, I get it. for those who are definitely gonna say probably in the comments, oh, how could you like Tamlin, blah blah blah
But the thing
blah,
is, we
like they do in the TikTok
Yeah.
videos. But if we're just talking about the first book,
Exactly.
we're gonna keep saying over and over again for people getting
Because
their
there's going to
heads.
be someone that's listening to this. They're going to be like, oh, well, Tamlin did this. Okay, but
Yes,
when
we're
did he do
aware.
that? He did that in the second book,
In the
correct?
second book,
So we're
yes.
not discussing that right now.
In the first book, he doesn't deserve any of
Exactly. So that's why, as disrespectful as it sounds,
that.
half of the, and I'm only going to say half because there's some people that don't deserve it,
Yeah.
half of the Akatar fandom need to put their ego aside. Because you
Yeah.
have all of these new members of the family that are literally going through everything that all of us went through. And yet,
Yeah.
when they sit here and say, man, I love Tamlin, or man, I love this, and all their comment section is hundreds of thousands of comments
Yeah,
of
they,
you
they
putting
just
them
they just
down.
keep jumping they just jump the trigger.
Exactly.
They don't realize what's going on. They don't read the room. They're not paying attention.
Exactly.
Which is funny, because you would think that you paid attention to the book, but you're not paying attention to what someone else is doing.
Exactly.
They're getting used to the fandom, and all you're doing is just
Because the
driving them
last
away.
knowledge you have, specifically, and here,
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
you guys can't see
Well,
it,
for
but I'm
both of
pointing
us.
at him. The thing,
She is pointing at me, by the
the
way.
last knowledge that we have is Silver Flames, right?
Yeah.
But this person on TikTok, the example that we're using, the last
Mhm.
thing that they have knowledge of is Under the Mountain.
Also, they didn't even finish the first book in the first place, and even then, it's.
But that's what I'm saying. So even
See,
though
that's just so dumb, like that people do that.
exactly,
And it's not just on Akatar.
I mean, it's
But
everything.
it's on a lot of
No.
things. But so many people are so quick to jump the gun, so much,
Exactly. So
and it's annoying. And the worst part is that it could end up hurting anybody. Any creator. I mean, I know by now, I'm pretty sure there's no problems, for the book.
exactly.
But at the same time, there's no point of hurting the fandom.
And at this point, I'm going to bring this question up again.
Mhm.
My question for those who kind of may have forgotten or whatever, Nesta versus Tamlin redemption arc. I am going to bring this up again, the next
Yeah.
series or like the next episode, and even
Because it bleeds
Correct.
into all the books
so
technically.
this one question I'm going to ask every single episode until we're done with the Akatar series, because
Yeah.
we can't talk about the full picture today. But
Not yet, because we're breaking
no,
it down
exactly.
book by book.
But
yeah.
going off of what we're talking about right here and now, Tamlin doesn't deserve all the hate.
No, not at all. In fact, if anything, he's definitely he's like a hero. He's the
I
hero.
mean,
of the
he
book.
is.
Yeah.
Until we get Under the Mountain, of course, which,
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
yeah. But then again, that's a very intense situation.
it is. And
It is. If you think about it, okay, if we were to give kind of like a little leeway, when it comes to Under the Mountain, there's some pretty powerful forces in play.
And you know what? I was actually thinking about it last night. And like
Yeah.
I've already mentioned before, I absolutely hate Tamlin.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
know.
I loved
Yeah.
him in the first book, don't get me wrong, but now I'm doing the thing where
Oh, me too. We were both
No,
all for
absolutely,
him
I
at the
love
very
him,
beginning.
but-
We were like, all daddy. That's why we kept saying Tam.
I know, like
and
I
all
like
that.
I
Now
liked
we're
Tam
Rai
Tam. I
Rai.
don't believe he deserves
Yeah.
the tampon name, but whatever. I digress. The thing is though, if I put I'm putting my ego aside here, and I'm giving
Yeah.
you
If we're just going based off just the
Correct.
beginning knowledge.
think about it. He had his entire court. Okay,
Pretty much
let me
damned.
actually let me rephrase. Amarantha had Tamlin's entire court quite literally by the balls. With a
Yeah.
snap of her fingers, him, Lucian, and every
Everybody.
single person
Just
in his
about
court,
everybody.
everyone in his court was going to be dead. Just
Yeah.
with a snap of the fingers.
Mhm.
So when Feyre shows up under the mountain and Tamlin is there pretending like he doesn't even know her, I don't think it's as bad as people are letting on. I don't think
Yeah.
it's as people called him a coward. Don't get me wrong, I called him a coward too. But
I
now
know.
let's take a step back and let's look at the bigger picture.
Mhm.
Tamlin's silence saved Feyre. I mean,
Mhm.
until,
Yeah.
Tamlin's silence saved not only Feyre, saved
But his people.
Alice, Lucian, every server, everyone in the garden, saved every single person in his court just by him not feeding into Amarantha.
Exactly. Because Amarantha is the type of person that she has a little ounce of knowledge. given the fact that remember when Raysan, going back again to when Raysan went to the court,
Yes.
to the Supreme Court, and Lucian and Tamlin,
Mhm.
were hiding her, and he quickly already knew where she was.
Instantly.
Yeah, instantly.
mean,
there was no problem.
I'm pretty sure. I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm pretty
No,
sure,
you're good.
even though Lucian was hiding her, with their mating bond already basically in place, I'm pretty sure Rhysand could smell her.
Oh yeah,
like
definitely.
legitimately.
And not to mention human, a smell of a human.
Yeah.
I mean, the Fae can easily.
And think
smell
about
that.
it. They were always saying that Tamlin and Lucian didn't have all their powers anyway.
Exactly.
So I
yeah.
don't think you can really hide
And besides-
everything.
Exactly, and we know that Tamlin was powerful in the Supreme
of
Court,
course.
wise, but the High Lord of the Night Court is canonically the strongest,
most
and that goes more to
powerful
the
High
further-
Lord.
And it's said in almost every book.
Oh, exactly. Like
that
without a doubt.
Rhysand, even in the very beginning, but even by Tamlin standards, who said that he is a monster of his own
Yeah.
league, and he even said that he's a myth turned real.
He is quite literally the most
The
powerful
strongest.
High Lord in all of Prythian.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, going off of
Oh, but yeah.
going off what you were saying, I'm assuming you're bringing up Claire.
Yes. So yeah, Claire. She used the Claire Bedouin
Bedor?
or something.
Yeah.
Bedor.
Claire Bedor. Claire
Something like that.
Bedor.
Fedora with a B, all right.
Fedora.
Fedora with a B.
Claire
Anyway,
Fedora.
Claire Fedora. She uses Claire's name, and not even a day later. Actually, no, probably a day later, like 2 or 3
Probably,
days
yeah,
later.
I think it was like 2
It-
days.
within a short amount of
Yeah.
time. Gone.
Gone instantly.
Dead. And we found that out under the mountain.
But then that's the thing, though. Excuse me. That's the thing,
But that's
though.
how. But that's what they were dealing with. That's what Tamlin was dealing
Yeah.
with people like
I
that.
actually can't
And now we
say
do
what I
know
wanted to
later
say.
on, and of course it also gives out, Rhysand's, BBEG energy, big bad evil guy.
Yeah,
energy.
no. But that's the thing,
You
though.
know.
Like,
That is Amarantha's lackey.
exactly. And that's the thing,
Her
though.
lackey, not Amarantha, but her lackey.
Yes.
And then of course we get to Claire being crucified, literally.
Quite literally. So that's the thing,
Literally.
though. That's what brings me back to Tamlin and his silence. If Rhysand
fed
and
into the
Amarantha were
information.
so quick to go find Claire and to literally ruin her life, burn her family, burn her house down, and then torture
torture her.
her.
I'm pretty sure in the book said that the fingers were put in odd
Yeah, every direction. She was
directions.
like burned. I think she had
burned in
scratches
multiple
all over her.
places. Yeah, all of that.
But that's the thing that brings up, like, or that's what I brought up in the beginning. Like, I don't think his silence was
Was
cowardly.
cowardly.
Exactly.
I
think his
that was the only
silence-
thing he could do to keep things as basically like to have the best case scenario. He had to be silent.
Okay, but then this also raises a question for me, right?
Mhm.
Rhysand throughout every book, right? He
Yeah.
quite literally can reach into your mind. He even mentions like something like whenever they're at the manor, he mentions something
Oh
about
yeah,
how
he reached into
yes,
her
and
head.
he says
yeah, that's
like
true.
he says something along the lines of like humans' minds are so easy to get through.
No.
Why at any point I think I know why, but my question is why throughout the entirety of Under the Mountain did he never go in Tamlin's mind to get her name?
Or well, the thing is that the answer that I have does bleed into the other books.
It does.
because we personally know why.
Well, okay, I understand why. And I
Yeah.
mean, I understand why, and that's because of Feyre. I get that.
Oh, but it also could be because of how Rhysand is. We get to learn that he's very much into back deals and keeping things opportunity-wise for himself personally.
Correct.
Very opportunistic. So that could have been a good way to have some leverage over Tamlin, because there's always the Fae.
But then that also raises the
politics.
question, though, because throughout the
Yeah.
entire book,
Mhm.
Rhysand is not known as the most powerful High Lord in Prythian. He's known
Yeah.
as Amarantha's whore.
Yeah.
So if that is the case, and if he is really that sprung-whipped, as everyone thinks he is, over Amaranth? Sorry, Amarantha.
Wrong one. Wrong babe.
Wrong mommy.
Wrong mommy. It's
If
my
he's
mom.
that sprung-ho over Amarantha,
Mhm.
why didn't she ever force him to go into his mind to see, because once Claire Bedore, she even Amarantha even mentioned that as soon as Feyre showed up, said something along the lines of, I should have listened to her whenever she said she'd never seen this man before. So at that point, why didn't she get Rhysand to go into Tamlin's mind?
I think maybe. Okay, I think it goes back to the fact of how Rhysand is very powerful. Because remember, when all the High Lords had their power, Amarantha had to trick them.
That is true, yes.
To get the upper hand. So I think even with, because don't get me wrong, even Rhysand was still, you know, leashed down and powered down from Amarantha because everybody got affected.
Right.
And it makes sense because she basically made bed with the strongest High Lord.
Yeah.
Which is Rhysand. She just has a lustful attraction to Tamlin.
Yeah.
Because she's known him since they were young. And it's even said in the book that they've known each other for so long. Because I think it was Alice who mentioned it, I believe.
I think so, actually, yeah.
Yeah, I think, it was Alice. Yeah, it was Alice. Because that's when she was giving out all the information and thing about the curse and so on and so forth. But I think it's because I think Amarantha knew that if pushed enough, because it also goes back to their powers about how, you know, their emotions make them more stronger. So if Rhysand was like really pushed too far, I think even him, you know, powered down, could still possibly be a big trouble for Amarantha.
No, I agree to that.
I think that's why. And to keep things positive and to keep this so-called, you know, what do you want to call it? I guess perception about it.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it was for. I think it's more for politics-wise. Plus, she was also very, what you call it? Very egotistic.
She was.
You know, she had so much. She had a lot of pride. She was very prideful. So I think that's why she, you know, she made a lot of what I think will be like common boss mistakes.
Right.
You know, do the monologuing, pretend, you know, completely believes that no one is above her, no one's strong enough. So she doesn't really think that critically.
So, okay, another side question. Do we want to continue Under the Mountain? Because I have a theory that I want to talk about. And I know you want to talk about the girls. So do we want to keep talking about Under the Mountain really quickly, get this out of the way, and then circle back around?
I guess it kind of depends. With the girls, it's more of a possible theory.
Right.
Which works in every book.
Okay, so I guess...
And it becomes more prevalent further on. But I'll go ahead and say it now. I'm just going to put it out into the air.
Oh, I don't know if we'll be able to stop if you do that.
Well, I think we can.
Are you sure?
Because it's more evident in the other books. It makes more sense in the other books. But it makes a little bit of sense because of how little information we get about her mother and the past. We don't get much about the Artrum family past.
Actually, not at all, really.
We don't, exactly.
Little.
And very less about her mother.
Right, her mother
we
is
get
mentioned
more information
little.
about the father versus the mother in terms of what we've gotten so far from all the books, from all the knowledge of the books. We get nothing.
I don't even, like, if you actually...
Only that she dies from typhus.
No, exactly. And if you take all of the fan art, and you know I'm crazy about fan art. I know anything.
Oh, yeah, I know, yeah.
I have never once been able to find a picture of Mother Archeron.
Exactly.
No one knows what she looks like.
I think, and I kind of looked it up. So like, you know what? Maybe I'm just crazy. And I even looked it up on Google and on Reddit, and I've even seen this. And you know what? I'm not the only one who thinks this. There's a good chance that the girls have magical bloodline.
Ooh.
Possible half-blood magical bloodline. I saw some people say maybe witch. You guys think about it.
That broke me.
That goes into some of the further ones.
That actually broke me.
Does it make sense? If you think about it. One, Nesta somehow managed to put 2 to 2 together when it comes to the whole, the glamour.
Would that also be why that...
But I want to say it's on the mother's side because Nesta has so much from the mother.
Okay.
If you think about it, the genes are more from the mother.
But then, okay, we can't really discuss it. But we can't discuss it. But I need to put it out there.
Yeah.
Do you think, though, with that being said, do you think that's why Rhysand is able to have dreams of Feyre, knowing that she's his mate?
I think so. I think one. I think it's
Wow.
okay. I think it's three things.
That broke
I think
me.
It's three things. Yeah. You see what I'm
That's
saying?
trippy. Wow.
Yeah. And that's gonna make you think tonight,
No,
isn't
like
it?
I'm not gonna be able to
Yeah.
sleep tonight because of
So
him.
I think it's three things.
Okay.
One, because we all know the cauldron is basically the whole thing of fate.
The cauldron is literally what makes
It's
Prithian.
fate. Exactly. It's fate. We'll call it
Yeah.
fate. The fate and creation. The other, possible magic bloodline. And the other is just what the cauldron and the bloodline just happen to mix together. It's a mixture of the
Yeah.
two. Does that make any sense?
I mean, it does, but it's hard to think.
It's hard to explain.
Yeah, because I know we need to tie that with the other books, and I know we can't.
Exactly.
So I guess
know.
we'll put a pin in that because that is.
Yeah, but I'm just putting it out there that I
Wow.
believe in the fact that there's a good chance that they have some sort of bloodline. And they did mention about things from like other realities
Yeah.
and other worlds too. So there could be a chance that the mother may not actually be a Prithian.
That actually makes me think because that's like what you said.
Because-
Maybe the mother is of Prithian. Maybe the mother was. Maybe
we
the
know-
mother was Fae. Because again, we can't discuss
Or
it.
maybe not even Fae, but something else entirely.
Well, because we can't really discuss it, but maybe that's
know.
why there was a big turnaround with Archerons
Exactly.
and
for some reason,
Ruin.
even and again, it goes with some other stuff too with the cauldron. The cauldron gets involved in the other later
Yeah.
books.
wow.
You know, we can't. But it makes sense now that you're thinking about it. To me, I think it's a theory that
Right.
makes sense.
Well, I guess since we're already derailed, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about my
Yeah,
theory.
yeah. That was my last big. That was my
Right.
big thing. My last big thing. So we can go ahead and go to the under the mountain.
Well, I
we'll
wanna
let this fester in mind.
I want to mention something first. Okay, so I know we can't talk about it yet, but I want to bring up Miss and Fury really quickly.
Okay.
If you remember at the end, Rhysand took Feyre all the way to the top of like
Oh, the
Starfall. Correct.
Yeah.
So he takes her all the way up there. They're having their moment, and then Starlight kind of like snowball hits both of them. Correct.
Yeah.
And they
mhm.
mention it as Starfall, glittering galaxy. Like
Yeah.
they're explaining it like
very astral.
correct. Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
Well, you know what it gives me the vibes of? Celestial vibes.
yes. But now
Yeah.
I have a question. So we have the Starfall that goes through Valeris. And
Yeah.
they talk about how it's like souls finding their way, right?
Yeah.
All right. Bear with me. In
I'm bearing.
this is in the quite literally smack dab in the middle of the court in Thorns and Roses.
Mhm.
This is when they get to the pond, Feyre and Tamlin. And now
Oh, the galaxy pond thing, right?
yes. So I quote, the silvery
For those who didn't
Sparkling
know,
water.
Elvish was coughing.
yeah, I have a mute button and I was so
no,
hyped.
we want the raw coughing. I'm doing like raw coffee.
Bro,
drinking right
like I am sniffling so hard right now.
now. And it's allergy season here where we're at, so you know.
Okay,
Yeah. Anyways,
So-
continue. The galaxy little lake thing.
correct.
I know
So,
exactly what you're talking about.
I quote, and now I'm gonna paraphrase because I'm gonna skip like a sentence or two and I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah. Skip to
So
the main
the first part says, the silvery sparkling water that dribbled from his hand set ripples dancing across the pool, each glimmering with various colors. To which she says, that looks like starlight. And then we skip a few sentences, says, it is starlight. Skipping ahead.
Yeah.
I asked, unable to take my eyes from the pool, the silver, but also the blue and red
Mhm.
and pink and yellow glinting beneath the lightness of it. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Basically, it almost happens again back in the mountain with Race.
but that's what I'm saying. Everything that
Yeah.
she described Starfall, they have a
the
pond of
same.
it in the spring court.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? Why is it also in the spring court?
That's interesting.
Right?
And that's where the two places where she's been.
Exactly.
Now, what I'm wondering is.
But
Oh,
but
you know what?
pause.
You just gave me an idea.
But pause. Again,
Yeah.
we can't go into detail with it,
I
but
know.
she was at the summer court too. Never in any of the chapters that she and
No,
Rhysand
that was never mentioned.
exactly. It was never mentioned anything with Starlight in the summer court.
Yeah. Mm.
Even when she crossed through
Well, then again, they weren't there for too long either.
but it doesn't matter. Even when she crossed through
Yeah.
the autumn court, nothing. So why is it
Only in the spring.
And the
So
night.
okay, so far it's only spring
night.
court and the night court. Ooh, maybe there's another court because there's the dawn court. But they ever, I don't think they ever gone to the dawn court.
I don't think they went to the dawn court, and I don't think they ever went to the winter court or the day court. If I'm being honest with you.
No, I think they did go to the day court, but that was for the whole other thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where we get to meet the other daddy.
But this is what literally like. This is probably gonna have people in the comment section. So actually, yeah, I bring it to now you guys. If you guys have any theories on this, let us know, because it is the only other time in the entire series. Now I'm actually saying this in all 5 books. It is the only time.
We're gonna break the fourth wall here. A little
right.
bit.
It is the only time in all 5 books that the starlight effect was ever mentioned. Was mentioned once on page 155 in Akatar, and it was mentioned at the end of Aquamath. So why is that?
Yeah.
But anyway,
you know,
I mean,
this could be a harebrained, like the whole meme of aliens, portals.
That is something that I have thought of too. Yes, because I know they always talk about winnowing to and from.
To and from the in between, and which the cauldron is almost a mix of the two.
But okay, but that raises a question too.
We're breaking the fourth wall.
No,
again,
but
because that's further on.
Yeah, but that also raises a question, because again, it is later on, but Valeris is unknown to all of Prithian.
Oh, that's
So,
true. And it wasn't the little lake thing in Spring Court also very little known to many
exactly,
people.
it was something that Tamlin knew, and he took her.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, there's a whole thing. There's a whole little
So
other
there's
thing
something
going on.
exactly. There's
Yeah.
something going on, and if you think about
and who
it,
knows? Maybe it might go back with the whole bloodline
right?
thing.
And so this will go later on.
I just thought of something else. I just went more into something I just thought
Well,
of.
and then this goes to kind of like Sarah J. Maas is very, very, very particular with how she describes things. She only
that's what I really like about her. About
correct.
The books, is how to describe.
She only describes things in a
very
specific and a very
if
particular way.
If it's important, it'll be in a particular way. And
So,
the more you read, the more you realize
this is why I'm curious on why only these 2 things. And you have to mention, like, let's not get over the fact that she did love Tamlin.
Yeah.
So with the 2 men that she has loved, there have been starlight.
You know, that goes further into another theory. Well, we do know that what's happening at the last end of Silver and Flames.
I mean, but still.
With the big news with her and
but
Rysand.
still. But that.
Maybe.
But that has nothing to do with the beginning of the book, though.
No, I know.
Right?
I'm thinking ahead again.
But okay, so
Yeah.
okay, we'll have to put a pin in that.
But then again, but then it goes again with the bloodlines.
Right.
You know, maybe like I was saying, her bloodline may be magical, and maybe might be celestial, and it might have to do with the cauldron, because we also remember at some point there was a small description of with the whole myth about the cauldron.
Yes.
That it was by the mothers.
Yes.
So. If you're trying to put two together, maybe
know.
her bloodline's a descendant.
Maybe, I don't
a
know.
far descendant.
Because if you think about
the creators of the cauldron, perhaps. I'm doing a weird mouth thing to do like the weird.
I'm trying
like,
not
no,
to
it's
like ugly laugh, you know.
I'm just like maidenless, so I think not. Anyways, but that's what I'm saying. Like I think it ties in with her bloodline when it comes with the stars, because it's very ancestral. Astral, the way how they make the world Prithian,
Right.
things were from the stars,
Right.
things were of the land. If you think about it, when it comes to the whole, the cauldron made, it's very, ethereal, it's very mythical, very celestial-like. I think that there is like a very deep bloodline.
No, absolutely.
That has to do with the cauldron in some shape or form, or it's just from a different reality. Or reality world, however you want to call it. They say it very weirdly
Right.
in the series. Yeah, it can be interpreted in either way.
So we're gonna put a pin in that. I am going to be honest with everyone. I will let Aqua have the deciding factor here. Something.
That'd be me. In case you didn't know, I'm Aqua.
So, to all of our newer viewers, I'm Elvish. Hello. I have to pee every 5 seconds of my life. It is the biggest curse. So either we can...
bodily functions.
Aqua is going to entertain you for just a second because I have a bladder problem and I have to pee even if I don't drink water.
Yeah.
So
so you need to go pee.
Go in depth of what you're talking about. I will be back in like 2 seconds.
That's fine. I just like talk to myself, so it'd be fine. So we'll just talk about like some random stuff. We'll just what? I mean, like random stuff with an ACOTAR. Come on, all right, she's gone. She left the room. I just want to know. All right, so I mean, there's a lot of fae. I wonder if there's a fae that is like the Tooth Fairy. And would they be nice? Well, no, I wouldn't think they'd be nice. I kind of imagine like Tooth Fairies be like, they like take their teeth and like put them in their mouth or something. Or maybe they eat the calcium. I always kind of wonder, are we ever gonna meet something similar to like a Tooth Fairy? Things have been very much about bones and blood and skin and all this weird stuff, but what about Tooth Fairies? It's kind of a weird segue. I'm definitely gonna be made weird by the end of this conversation. We're talking about Tooth Fairies. She just walked back in. Elvish just walked back in. So we're talking about Tooth Fairies. There's a whole bunch of like fays.
The fact that I have to watch this VOD back just to make sure that he didn't say anything out of pocket, knowing full well that he did. But anyway.
Well, I was talking about Tooth Fairies. I
wonder
if there's Tooth Fairies and do they use the teeth and put them in their mouth, or do they eat the teeth and eat calcium? This is a serious question. I really am curious. Anyways, we're back.
See the look that I just gave him. I don't even know how to describe.
It was a nice.
I don't know how to describe that look.
It wasn't judgment at all whatsoever.
Okay,
no
so
let's go ahead and get to the next topic.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Let's go back.
So I have another theory that I would like to talk about, but I don't know if we need to talk about Under the Mountain first because it coincides with that. So
okay, if it leads up to it, then let's go with what it leads up to.
Okay, so I don't know if I'm ready to say this. So I have 2 theories about this one topic, but this is the only one that I can talk about right now, right?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, once we get to the next podcast, we're gonna have the second book. So I guess we can still have like topics from like the first book if it bleeds into the second book.
Correct. So I have 2 topics, but one I kind of can't talk about until the 3rd book. But for this one, I'm nervous. What if Amarantha and Tamlin are mates?
I don't think so.
Well, no, okay, but like let's look at all of the.
Oh well.
Let's look at everything. So, what if? Because if you go through the entire first book, okay, no, I'm actually going to jump into the second book just a tiny bit. Throughout the second book, or the beginning, I should say, of the second book, Feyre questions whether or not Tamlin feels the mating bond between them. He never answers, never acknowledges, never anything. Right?
Damn.
Never does anything. He basically lets the question go through one ear and out the other, pretends that he doesn't hear her. So we know
that kind of just ruins it now because you have a point.
Okay, but then continuing though, there's never any, I guess, mention of who might be Tamlin's mate. But then if we look at why was the Spring Court the only court heavily affected by Amarantha, and that brings me to they might be mated.
Maybe you're right.
They might
maybe
be
they
mated,
are mates.
but the thing is,
but Tamlin didn't want it because he was so scared of her when he was young.
Exactly.
Even because they've known each other
for centuries. But the thing is, for those, I guess, not too keen of the series, you have a right to decline a mating bond. You don't have to go with your mate. So my theory,
because it has been said before, even in previous in the next books, it's even mentioned before. It is breaking a little bit of the fourth wall here, or the order. But it even says it'll become common knowledge that you don't have to follow the mating.
Exactly.
Bond.
You
can choose who you want at the end of the day.
Exactly.
The mating bond is just like a strong force.
Exactly. So what if Amarantha and Tamlin are actually mates? He declined the mating bond, and
Answer icky.
she
Icky
took
Vicky.
all wrath out on the Spring Court, which then
Which she
did because
Yeah.
that brings up the curse. And think about it, the Spring Court is the only court. And now, how many courts are there? 7. There's 7 High Lords.
Yeah. There's the seasonal courts and the solar
So there's
courts.
7 High Lords total. So there's 7 or
Yeah.
8 courts total. Because I think Hybern technically counts as one. I don't know, but
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, it kind of does. It's like the overall court.
but the thing is, the Spring Court is the only one that was cursed. It was the only one that had.
And it's because Tamlin had challenged her.
Exactly.
And if they were mates, that'd be the only way.
So
at least, but I see. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. To me, it makes sense.
So
damn, I think I agree.
I asked my question.
Yeah. I think they're
What
mates.
if Tamlin and Amarantha are mates?
It makes sense.
And then if you think about
Huh.
it,
I'm not gonna sleep well tonight.
no. And that's the thing,
Thought
though.
of
Tamlin is the one that killed Amarantha at the very end. So, what if it was a double-sided blade? One side saving Feyre because Amarantha had originally killed Feyre. So not only killing the woman that he truly did love, but then also getting rid of his mate so that he can live, happily ever after
Yeah.
with his new Fey from human woman.
But it wasn't a mate because they were definitely not mates.
Exactly. But
Because we all know who the real mates are.
right. So do you think Tamlin killing Amarantha was to get not only to stop basically the war, but
I wouldn't doubt that part at least. But I think it was also more for him too.
right.
So basically a dual-sided
Right.
thing. Damn, yeah, that's gonna keep me up at night.
No, that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Well, that's that's a lot.
but oh no! All right, come over here. All right, well, so we're gonna try this. It's probably gonna sound really weird.
Yeah. Is it? I don't know if it's picking up my voice.
It is not, but so you're gonna have to talk into here.
Okay, so yeah.
Okay, so
Our mouths are really close together now, so now we're fine. We're good friends.
okay, so his battery died, so we only have a few more points.
I have a laptop, and I completely forgot my charger because I'm totally a professional podcaster and streamer. Totally.
But okay, so I guess I'll talk and I'll give you the mic then really quickly.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess my really last point for this is talking about Rhysand, actually, because we go into, okay, so there's no doubt that Rhysand is the reason that Feyre was healed.
I think it has to do with everybody, because at the end, it was everybody who put it all together, because they gave power to her and turned her fae.
This is impossible. Well, no, but what I mean is, though, Feyre was broken in the cell. She was quite literally dying. She had broken limbs. She was bleeding profusely. She was dying. Rhysand is the one that came in there. Oh.
I know.
Oh. Well, here. Let me. So, Rhysand is the whole reason why she was healed. And we then learn at the very end that Rhysand is the reason why she heard music. We will get in that later. You can try. Oh.
Testing.
Oh, here we go. Oh, yes. We are
So,
professional
I'm gonna-
podcasters. Look
Yeah,
at this.
So, okay. All right, a little context before we continue. Again, this is our first time doing this, and right now I kind of like hooked up to my Bluetooth on my phone,
Yes.
so I forgot to charge my laptop. But we're wrapping it up anyways. That's what I get for.
We only have a few more minutes anyway.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, so continuing what I was saying though, Rhysand is the whole reason why she was healed in the first place. Rhysand is also the reason why she heard the music when she was quite literally seeing the light.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
Such a
Rhysand
beautiful-
is also the reason why he painted her. Now, I've seen a lot.
I kind of forgot about
Yeah.
that.
Now,
Yeah,
the
I
thing
forgot about
is,
the
I've seen a lot of theories on why he painted her, and I'm just going to be honest, it's a lot of woke people getting upset at the fact that he was trying to control her, when in actuality that was never the case. It was more so
Yeah,
he
no.
wanted to keep her safe, and it was more so that he wanted to make sure that nobody was getting her hands, or getting their hands on her, right? Like, you
Yeah.
agree to that?
I agree with that. It was just funny because if you think about it, it's like old-fashioned romanticism.
No, exactly. So,
A lot of woke people would not have survived the early stages of like, you know, of the
Now-
teenage year.
did you... How do I phrase this?
Sweet blind. Screw it.
Yeah, so, okay, at the very end, right?
Mm-hmm.
When Feyre is towards the very end of all of her, like, 3, like, tasks,
Yeah.
she hears someone screaming her name in the crowd. Turns out to be Rhysand, I believe.
That was mentioned later on in the books too. I think so. I think
So-
I think it was like the third. No,
I think it was the second book at the very
it
end
was the
of...
second one. That's
Right.
correct. Yeah, toward the end.
So, even as Amarantha's whore,
Yeah.
with Amarantha still alive, he did everything he could. He risked his entire life
And his court.
and his court
Given the knowledge that we know,
and
he
Valeris.
was
He not only
Exactly.
risked his court,
Yeah.
he risked
Valeris.
Under the Mountain, which we then eventually find out that remained basically its own court. Like the Night Court has 2 courts, basically. He not only risked his court, the secondary Night Court, Valeris, his own life, and anyone else tied to him because he wanted to save Feyre.
Which we're gonna put that out there now. Spoiler alert. They're mates.
I mean, literally. So, I don't know. Okay, so
No, I know.
that's
good.
crazy though, yeah?
I like that. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I do have more theories. Unfortunately, I feel like all theories now are tied to the other books. Do you think
Yeah.
you have anything left for this specific book?
I think that's it.
You have final
really.
thoughts?
I have one final
Yeah.
thought. It's gonna be controversial.
Ooh.
Everyone's gonna hate me for this, probably. It sounds nicer if we say Valeris.
Rather than... Oh, I like Valaris. That's how I say it. But you say
Yeah,
Valeris.
Valeris.
I like Valaris. I think that's
Valeris.
how they say it in the audiobook, yeah? I
Yeah.
say Valaris.
Valeris. I think it's like Valeris. I like the way it says it's Valeris.
Well, my final thoughts, I guess.
I just wanted something stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my final thoughts, I guess. I do have, like I said, more. I have another theory that I can't really talk about until the 3rd book, but when
Yeah.
that theory does come up, I'm going to be referencing this book a lot because that's where all of the descriptions come in.
Okay, because everything gets tied into
Exactly.
it. Yeah. You get a lot more into it, a lot more info later on.
But I truly don't think this book deserves all the hate that it gets.
Not at all.
Everyone,
And you know how I feel about another book that once we get
Oh,
to
absolutely.
it, you know that I'm going to rag on
Absolutely.
so many TikTokers because they're stupid.
and that's the thing though, it has become a trend, and I'm pretty much talking to the viewers at this point now. It has become a very disgusting trend to, quote unquote, be bored with the book And when the book originally came out, that wasn't the case. Even when the second book came out, that wasn't the case. When the third book came out, that wasn't the case. And it is now a trend to be bored and make videos, highly disrespectful videos, not only to the fandom, but to Sarah, you know, probably watching these, of you looking at the book, throwing it over your shoulder, pretending to yawn. Like, that is so disrespectful. Because if you actually...
People have some stupid trends.
But that's what I'm saying.
insane.
And if you actually take this book for what it is, she is a bestseller for a reason. Now, whether Throne of Glass came out first, this came out first, it doesn't matter.
She
earned it. And this book is one of the best books.
Is one of the reasons why.
Exactly. Like, in my personal opinion...
Oh, and I agree.
My personal opinion, this book was a 5 out of 5. And I personally don't think it deserves all the hate. So, moving forward, I challenge you guys. You know, we're gonna probably get hate in the comments, and that is fine. Everyone is entitled to their opinions. But I challenge you, viewer, whether you agree or if you are specifically the one that disagrees, I challenge you to think about it from when you first started reading this book. When you first started, whether you liked Tamlin or not, you didn't shit on the book as much as you are now. So let's openly welcome the newer people, because that's...
And keep in mind that they're just starting off the book like
exactly.
we've all started.
And what you don't realize...
They're going through their journey,
exactly.
just like everyone else.
And what you don't realize is at some point in time, authors give up a series. Right?
Yep.
If Sarah J. Maas is constantly having this response where every single time more and more and more people are coming to her book and more people are buying her book and buying merch of her book, she is more willing to create more books, right? So if we want...
I really hope for more, because
I know there's 2 more in the series for sure.
Yeah.
But if you... And I'll talk about this next next episode, but she is set up for 2 more books. She's already come out and said that. Theory shows that she might be set up for 4 books. And I'll get into that next. Yes. So all I'm asking is for those who think it's a trend to talk shit about this book and to be openly disrespectful to newer readers, maybe take a step back and realize that
they're going through the journey just as much as
exactly. And just because they like something that you are now against, you weren't against it at the beginning. So I don't know. It's just food for thought. I'm just leaving you with that. So
I agree. I'm the same way. Hey, look, hate comments or not, still views, baby. Still views.
But yes, so this was A Court of Thorns and Roses. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you agreed with, disagreed with. If you have a specific A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I mean just the first book, if you have theories that we didn't touch on, oh my god, let us know, because we are totally going to be reading these. We're going to talk about it.
If you have something really dumb, like we're talking about the tooth fairies.
No, like
I'm just saying.
Did he actually talk about tooth fairies? Be honest.
Yes, I did.
Tooth fairies?
Yes. Come on, comments, help me out here.
But yes.
Do they eat coffee?
So we will be back, and we are going to talk about A Court of Mist and Fury next.
And I'll have my charger for my
And
laptop.
he will have his charger for his laptop. But yes, I guess a small disclaimer before we leave. At the end of this, A Court of Thorns and Roses is going to be a 7 or 8 episode series. Once the Akatar series is finished, we will then start other books. More so books that we are reading in our book club. However, until that is finished, enjoy Akatar. But so I mean, I have nothing else. You?
Nah, I think I'm pretty good. I think maybe Nesta and Tam both deserve redemption.
I agree. But yeah, so I will personally see you guys in Mist and Fury.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Can't wait. We get a lot more out of that one.
Oh,
So much more.
that is
Can't
gonna be
wait.
such a long episode.
My third book is where the third book is
Oh
where
my
is where
god,
you know how much I love that book.
the third book
Yeah.
was my favorite. Unpopular opinion, but yeah. So
Suck it.
I hope all of you guys have a fantastic night. I hope you guys enjoyed today's podcast. If you have any comments, concerns, questions, any of that stuff, feel free to leave it down
We'll
below.
take it all. We'll take it
No,
all. Don't
absolutely.
forget to share.
For all the newer viewers, once again, my name is Elvish.
And I'm Aqua.
Oh,
Is it possible I can do a little shout out? Just because there's like a big fan, both of me, but of you as well. And so this is just a little shout out, if you don't mind.
no, of course.
Yeah. And so just for a fan out there, because I know that they also a huge fan of Akatar, and we were actually talking about theories, and I think she had literally 2 exact theories
Ooh.
with you. I think it was the one about oh gosh, it just escaped my mind. The one about Raisin. It just escaped my mind. Oh shoot, what was it?
Are we talking about Skelly? Who are we talking about?
Yes.
Okay, you never said
Yeah.
the shout out.
Oh, it might.
I'm over here like
Professional podcaster here.
I'm like gripping the edge of my
Yeah.
seat. Like, who are we shouting out?
I know.
I'm like, oh my god, I am so ready for this.
No, yes, it's Skelly, aka Skeleton Red.
I guess I do want to shout someone out too because
Ooh, let's do it.
someone who has been surprisingly with us this entire podcast without you
Oh,
knowing.
yeah.
Devil.
Oh, isn't that one person? Well, that one, yeah.
Yeah.
Devil. Hey, what's up?
But yeah. Oh, sorry, sniffles. Oh, sorry.
Raw sniffles.
But yeah, you were talking about Skelly.
Yes, I'm trying to remember what the
Was
theory
it Resand
but
Under
both-
the Mountain?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Under the Mountain. I gotta come back to her.
No, of course. So
I know that show. I know she'll love it.
No,
too.
absolutely. So go ahead. I know she's probably gonna comment under this video. But yeah.
But if any other commenters who give us some really good theories, or maybe something we missed, or maybe expand more on the theories that
Absolutely.
we have, you know,
Oh,
if you have
absolutely.
something real good, we'll give you a nice little shout
And
out.
I'm gonna be honest with you, and this goes for all of the videos combined. If we get enough really good theories that like make our heads itch a little bit, I want to make a whole nother video on it. So if you guys
Oh,
are
yeah, I'm so
willing
down.
for like endless Akatar videos, go ahead. Like give us what you need because
Yeah,
like
send them some
for real.
stuff, send them some info. You know, we'll take it, even if it's on the future books.
oh of course.
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, we'll say go ahead and send it, but let's just try to keep it to where we're
Yeah,
at.
try and
Of
keep
course,
it
when we
with
get
this
to the
book.
further,
We're gonna.
but if it's a really good one,
Yes.
I say go for
I
it. Because
do
who
have
knows?
one. I
Who
have
knows?
one now,
Ooh, let's hear it.
but I can't tell you yet. So
For
those-
don't you just hate
for
that?
those in the
But once
comments,
we
you
get
might
there.
know my
Yeah.
theory, but please try not to say it because I want to surprise him. It has to do with Azrael Morgan.
Ooh. Okay, so yeah, let's definitely.
It
save
has to do
that.
with him.
At least
Correct.
up to the third.
So okay,
Because I think by the third book, that's more. I think we're safe to talk about just everything.
Right.
That has
The
to do
third
with the
book,
main group,
yes.
excluding Nesta.
exactly everything
Excluding
without Nesta. Right. Okay.
So.
But yeah, I
Yeah.
think this was a pretty good day. Yeah.
Little technical difficulties, but
Always.
but we learn. It's a learning process, folks.
It is.
Learning process.
But yes, I hope you guys have a great day.
I hope you have some great night.
Yeah.
You do the day, I'll do the night.
I guess quick thing.
Mhm.
This was a pretty long podcast. I mean, if you
Yeah,
guys have not yet, be sure to go out, get some water, get a snack, get some
Mhm.
food.
Do some meditation.
Yeah.
If you need it. You
Self-care
know, whatever.
is very important. So,
It's important.
but
Because if not, you'll end up like Nesta.
oh god, aren't we all a little
know.
bit of Nesta?
Oh,
But
tell me about it.
yes, y'all have a good one. We will see you in the next video.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
And so, like I said, you know, fucking Tamlin during his beast form is not bestiality, alright? It's just an advanced form of furriness. It's better than fucking a Soriel.